Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee and Takes podcast. This is episode number 17. I'm very excited to be joined today by a good friend of mine, Mr. Kallon.
Yes, indeed.
We go back, 5, 6, 7 years now?
Actually,
Actually, longer
years.
than that.
I think longer
2015.
than that. 2015. So we're talking about, we're approaching
years.
10 years, bro.
Bro, almost a decade.
I know, we're approaching 10 years,
That's
man.
crazy,
It's crazy,
man. That's crazy. And Kevin's a great guy. I think I met you in the gym.
We did, in fact, meet in the gym. And, the funny thing is, I love attire. I love a good suit. And typically in a gym, especially the gym that we go to, it's not like a health club, you know what I mean? So I saw you in some beige summer suits, and I've got a similar suit, a similar kind of beige summer kind of suit. I'm like, hold up a minute. What the heck is this guy walking through the gym, looking fly, got a whole summer suit on? I was like, nah. I need to holler at this guy. So it just shows you the power of attire sometimes.
Oh man!
Because hey, I'm in a suit on a regular basis, right? But you probably never see me in a suit in the gym because I go home and take that shit off. But what I liked about you, like, nah, man, I go to the gym in my suit
24/7. I sleep in a suit as well. Nah, man, but I appreciate you for noticing back then, man.
Yeah.
And man, what I really appreciate about you is you have this incredible skill of building relationships with just about everyone.
Yeah.
When I saw you in the gym, man, you were fist bumping, high fiving everyone. People gravitated towards you.
That's right.
People would see you. Right. Oh, Kevin, how you doing?
Yeah.
So we clicked straight away.
Well, 100%. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'm a people's guy. I'm a people's person. And I feel like having that innate skill to connect with people in all kinds of ways, I'm not judgmental at all. I can probably even make a connection with the homeless guy, standing underneath the bridge. You know what I'm saying? So to me, knowing how to sort of like connect with people, that's what I'm all about. And like you said, especially in the gym that we go to, I come in, I'm fist bumping everyone. I mean, we also had a really nice atmosphere in that gym.
It was good.
To be fair, so it wasn't just me. The rest of the guys created a really, really positive atmosphere for you to come in and just do whatever you have to do in there,
But man, I tell you, you were the focal point of that. I tell you that. And honestly, like I said, we clicked, and
straight up.
Even outside the gym, we started catching up for coffee, and we started to exchange loads of different ideas.
That's right.
You're an entrepreneur.
You're
someone who is also very invested in the world of day trading, FX. You're a broker, obviously. So for people that are obviously seeing you for the first time, just a brief introduction into yourself and what you do right now.
Yeah. So, as you already said, my name is Kevin Kallon. My full name is Meowie Kevin Kallon, and I live in Milton Keynes. So sometimes whenever I go to the post office and they see MK, they see Meowie Kevin Kallon, they're like, oh, this is a good city for you because it's in your initials, But all the men in my family actually have their first name is with an M and the last name is, so all the boys in my family are MK as well.
Nice.
But no, so I live in Milton Keynes, lived here for a few years now. I came here when I was about maybe 14. I was living in the Netherlands before, from Sierra Leone originally. I've done, my hobby actually growing up is breakdancing, and I've been doing it since I was like 9. And it did just start off as a hobby, but then as I got older, I started getting opportunities with it and so on and so forth. So I have my own dance academy now as well that I opened maybe just after Corona, right?
Oh, nice.
And then my day job, if you will, is in finance. It's in financial sales, financial tech sales, which is, I guess we're going to get onto that later on, but that's how we sort of connected as well, was in that finance realm. And I love to work out. I like to feel good. I like to look good. I like to smell good. And that's pretty much it, man. I'm a chill guy, pretty down to earth. You know what I mean? I like hanging out with friends. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Man. You love life.
Exactly that.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Well, let's firstly get into the financial tech sales aspect. How did you get your break into that? Because a lot of my audience are young men, and even men who are approaching 30 and maybe even in their 30s. My biggest demographic is those between 18 and 40 in general. A lot of them are confused. Maybe they're in a career that they dislike. Some of them are just starting off, 18, 19. They don't know what to choose. So one of the common questions that I get is, Ali, what do you think of sales? And I'm a big advocate of sales. I believe it transforms you as a man. But I'd love if you can just, first of all, talk about how you got into the world of sales and what your thoughts are for, people considering sales as a career.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. So I started when I was about 18. I was in London. I studied at the University of West London. And I was doing a pretty generic degree. I did international business management. But the thing is, I always sort of knew innately that I liked the idea of finance, money, and so on and so forth. But I also know that if I want to go into any type of career, it needs to be somewhere where I can connect with people, somewhere where I can use my voice. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Then I ended up at a company called JNF Capital, which was, you know, back then it was the biggest boutique trading floor in the city, in Liverpool Street, in London, right in the heart. And right in the heart, you know. And I started when I was 18, you know, young kid. And I remember I had my interview and everything. I got the job. Fast forward now, I'm in the office, and one of the traders there, day traders there, his name is Ashe, big Nigerian dude with locks. And he was having a conversation with me. He was like, okay, so why are you really here, Kev? You know, are you here for the money? Are you here because you love finance? Or is it the sales? What is it exactly? And I said to him, Ashe, you know what? Of course, you know, the monetary aspect, that's always going to be, you know, that's always going to be a thing, obviously. But I guess the main reason why I'm here is because I know what I'm good at. I know that I know how to talk to people. I know how to connect with people. And I know that I also have, you know, a love for finance and the markets and this type of things in general. So how can I merge those two? And then I ended up pretty much in sales, you know? So that's how I started. And when I started off, man, back then you had a lot of, in my office where I was at JNF Capital, you had about 100 and something, maybe probably more than that, like 120 guys in the office. Then we had another office in Colchester in Essex. Most of my colleagues are Essex lads. You know, you know what I mean?
That suntan.
You like it, you know, that kind of stuff, man. But I love it. I mean, I've got an accent myself, so I appreciate a good accent. But no, we had another office in Colchester where they were going to send me there initially, and I was just like, listen, that's not going to work, you know. And I wanted to be in the city anyway, you know. So started off there. You had a lot of young guys like myself who were hungry, talented. They had a natural capacity to sell as well.
Would you say you had that naturally?
100%.
And do you 100%. Think it's something that you either have or you don't, or is it something that you can build?
It is something that you can develop. It is something that you can develop because.
But it has to be there.
Well, let's put it like this, right? If you know that you are an extrovert, no, not an extrovert, the opposite, an introvert, right? If you know that you're an introvert, and let's be honest, you know that of you know what I mean? Like, you know me, I'm an extrovert, right? You are probably in between. You may be like an ambivert. I don't know if I'm right in saying that. I think you're like in between, but probably more on the extrovert side, yes. but a bit more in the middle. That's Whereas me, I'm all the way over there.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you kind of know that about yourself, you know what your personality type is. You know that you're an extrovert. You know that you're, let's just say you're an introvert, right? Now you want to go into sales. Well, naturally, you might have a little bit more of a harder time than somebody who is super extroverted. You know what I'm saying? So those personality traits, they do come into play when you're looking if sales is in fact the right career for you. However, if you are someone that's kind of like, you know, a bit more in the middle, you know, like an ambivert, as they say. You can be extra, but you can also, you know, have your own little relaxed time. Then I guess it's something that you can also develop. But if you're someone on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you're very introverted, you don't like to talk to people, you know what I mean? You don't like to make eye contact, speak to people on the phone, then sales probably is not going to align with your personality. Now, if that's something that you still really, really want to do, then guess what? It's not a thing of, you need to change your personality. I don't think you can change your personality, but what you can do is develop your personality to perhaps aid you in certain things that you want to do, right? So if you want to do something that requires, let's just say you have a love for something that requires, you know, something that's very, very calm, not very extra, but you know you're not that individual, well, you can certainly develop your personality, develop your character to kind of fall in line with that thing that you really want to do. So in as much as I think that there is an innate aspect to sales, it is something that can be developed as well. you know, depending on the individual.
I really like how you broke that down. I really do. And it takes self-awareness, doesn't it?
100%.
And self-awareness, I've spoken about it before. I see it as a skill, just like anything else. Understanding oneself is something that you get better at.
Yeah.
So people that are really self-aware tend to do better in their careers, in their relationships, because they know what their pitfalls are.
Yeah.
They know what they're good at and what they suck at.
That's true.
And I also believe that before you can conclusively state it's not for me, you have to throw yourself in the deep end.
100%.
Give it an actual go, because what you don't want is a situation where you've never done sales and there you are making conclusive statements. Now it's not for me. Why isn't it for you? Have you given it a go? Have you had concrete evidence?
You're right, dude. You're right. You're right. And, you know, another greater aspect that covers this whole entire spectrum that is even more important, really, is the fact that at the end of the day, we all have to know how to sell. I don't give a damn what your personality is at this point, dude. I don't care if you're extroverted, you're introverted, but we all need to know how to sell, because there's an aspect of personal selling. This is just a fact. You have to know, number one, how to sell yourself. Number two, how to sell your ideas. When you were, you know what? It's like this. When you're a kid, you want something from your parents. When you go there, and kids can be really good salesmen, because the way they do it is it comes from a very natural. There's no sales Bible that they've read. It comes from a very natural place. Hey, mom, I'm thinking I want to get McDonald's today, whatever it might be, right? Well, you know what, kid? We had McDonald's yesterday. I don't think we should get it today. Then before you know it, they're now trying to convince their parents to give them every single reason as to why they should get that McFlurry today. Then before you know it, okay, go on then. Do you want the Oreo one? They even ask you. So even as a kid, that's where you kind of learn how to sell, because you sell your ideas. Hey, can I get this? Can I get that? You sell yourself, right? So to me, it is important. You don't necessarily have to be selling a product. You can be the product. Your idea can be the product. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like in any business, if you don't know people, if you don't know how to sell, dude, you're not going to get very far, because you can have the greatest product in the world. You can be the smartest guy in the world, dude. But if you don't know how to convey that idea, you don't know how to really make me buy that idea. Like, okay, you know what? What this guy is saying, it makes sense. I get it now. I'm with you. If you don't know how to get that idea across, you're not going to get anywhere. And I'll tell you a little anecdote here. So there's a painter. There was a famous Dutch painter, goes by the name of Vincent Van Gogh, or Vincent Van Gogh, if you want to say
icon.
If you want to say it in Van Gogh in the British way, right? Yeah. But Vincent, obviously, excellent painter. Everybody knows him. You study liberal arts, classical art, you're gonna run into a Van Gogh piece, right? His brother, I think his name was Martin Van Gogh. Do you know about this story?
I didn't know.
Okay, well, listen to this. You're gonna like this. Martin Van Gogh was the brother of Vincent, right? And the one who actually made the Van Gogh name a household staple was not necessarily, and I say not necessarily, Vincent. It was actually Martin. You know why? Because Vincent, he had all the talent in the world, man. He had the vision. He had the dexterity to move that hand and create beautiful pieces. But guess what? Do you really think he's the guy that's going to go out there to auction homes, to all the art galleries and say, hey, buy my stuff. I got the best painting. That wasn't him. That's where his brother came in. His brother was like, Vinny, you're sitting here at home. You're making all these beautiful pieces. You're sitting here in the corner being weird. You know how artists are. You know what I mean? You need your motivation. So you need your inspiration. It's like, dude, you got these beautiful pieces. What are we going to do with them? You know what? Let's do this. Give me this piece. I'm going to go to some of the art galleries and auction homes in Amsterdam and the Netherlands over. And we're going to sell these pieces, dude. So Martin was the one who actually went out there. He wasn't a painter. Martin was not a painter. Vincent was the painter.
Yes.
But guess what? Who was the one that made the family legacy? It's Martin that went out there and said, hey, listen, dude, you see this painting right here? It took 20 months to complete. You want to get your hands on this today. Scrap that. Yesterday. Because if you don't get it, it's going to go 10 times in value, and then you're gonna come back to me, hey, I wish I bought it, Martin. It's too late for that. He was the one that was going out there selling his brother's artwork. But guess what? We know Vincent. You've never heard of Martin Van Gogh.
Never heard of
But you definitely know Vincent Van Gogh. So I'm not even saying that, the creator don't matter. Yeah, obviously they do.
Yeah.
But without that sales and, somebody who's actually going out there promoting your work, selling your work, getting it out there, your idea, your work, your art piece, whatever, it's as good as nothing, man. So, and when I heard that, and it's not common knowledge. So when I read this, I was like, what? So this whole time here I am thinking, Vincent is the one that's going out there selling his artwork and then, making the family name and bringing millions into the family. Not quite. It was actually Martin. It was actually Martin. And when I heard about this story, I was like, you know what? If that's not a confirmation how valid and how important the art and the skill of sales and selling is, then I don't know what is, man.
That's so powerful.
It is, right? It is. Wow. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
And there's a similar story with the McDonald's founders, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. The brothers. So they actually they were just selling, I think, like hot dogs and burgers first from like a little kiosk kind of thing. And then was it Kroc?
Ray Kroc or something like that?
Ray Kroc, something like that. He came and he saw the vision. He was like, hey, I think this was also the first time that the idea of fast food came into the picture. Burger, hot dog, boom, there you go. 2 minutes later, there's your burger. Burgers for the boys. Hey, enjoy that. So he came, he saw the vision, but the brothers, the McDonald's brothers, I forgot the name now, they didn't really have that drive to take it globally, if you will. So Ray Kroc came. If you really think about it, man, Ray Kroc is the one that was actually doing the selling.
And then who takes credit?
Well,
I mean, Martin, obviously, from
the Van Gogh story, yeah. It's
he was behind the scenes, yeah.
He was behind the scenes, bro.
The mastermind.
He was the mastermind. Now, look, some might say, well, you know what? If Vincent did not make these paintings, Martin would have nothing to sell. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's why you have a team.
Well, then
that's why you have a team. Not everybody can do everything. You do the painting.
Yeah.
I'll go sell it. That still does not mean that you should just forget about it. Well, we've got a salesman. No. You still need to know how to do a certain level of at least selling. At least sell yourself. If it's not a product, at least convince me on you. Convince me on your idea. You don't have to sell, the go to a car sale. You don't want to sell cars. That's cool. But at least sell me you, dude.
Because it feels
Let me buy you at least.
And
you feel me?
It feels good to take something and make someone else share the same amount of passion for it.
Yeah.
Maybe like in the case of Van Gogh, obviously incredible paintings.
What?
To have someone look at that painting and think, wow, and just be in awe of your creation.
Exactly.
For you to have instilled.
Exactly.
I mean, this cup of coffee right here, the design of the cup, and if I can get you excited about this cup of coffee and you sit here and you're like, man, this is incredible. There's a certain feeling of satisfaction that I derive from being able to have you see this cup the same way I'm seeing it. And this is why founders of companies have to instill this excitement around their product to their consumers.
That's true.
Obviously, Steve Jobs was one of the best examples in human history.
That's true.
He took a piece of metal, a handheld piece of metal with a few buttons on it initially, and he got billions of people around the world to be excited about this piece of metal.
That's right.
When you think about that, I mean, that is an astronomical level of success. To get not only one person, not 10, not 1,000, not 100,000, but billions of people to, look at this product and put their hands on it and start getting excited about it. And if you look at every major company in the world today, obviously Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, the founder and the spokesman. Jack Ma until recently. We'll get into that later on.
Where the hell is Jack?
Where the hell is Jack?
Free Jack Ma, man.
Free our boy, brother.
Free our boy, man.
Where is he, man? Jack. Man, we're rooting for you, brother. Stay safe. But, all of these major companies, the founders are the salesperson behind the company as well.
They are. And just to go back to Steve Jobs real quick, Steve was not even necessarily the brainchild behind all the technicalities, right? It was Wozniak. It was Steve Wozniak. I mean, that guy is a super nerd, bro. You know, it was Steve Wozniak, probably a couple of other guys that were working on technicalities. Steve was more the front man, the motivation guy, the pusher, the head honcho. Yo, let's leave the city, let's go into the woods, and let's do some team bonding, and let's go push this Apple product. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even think Steve Jobs was necessarily the guy there coding and figuring that out. Not really, but that does not mean that what he was doing. In fact, he probably had just as much of a vital role. I mean, that's what everybody knows Steve Jobs, to be fair. People are more likely to know Steve Jobs than Steve Wozniak. You know what I mean? You know who Steve Wozniak is, right?
Yeah. The co-founder, yeah.
Exactly, he's a co-founder. But not only is he a co-founder.
He could walk past you in the street and you'd never know.
Exactly. I would know because I know what he looks like. Exactly. I mean, we would know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we take interest in these type of things. But, yo, Steve Wozniak will easily walk through the city. Nobody will even bat an eyelid. You know what I'm saying? So the way I even remember watching this video one time of Steve Jobs. He took some of the Apple employees to like a little retreat, where they could just have their own time and come brainstorm basically, right? And I was like, damn, man, this guy is good, because at the end of the day, the way that I look at it as well, when you want people to buy your product, right? Or you want them to even buy your idea or whatever it is, you have to know, just like what you said, if you can get somebody excited about that cup or about that art piece, right? So you kind of have to know how to change the sentiment. Selling is based on sentiment as well, because let's just go back to that painting, right? Van Gogh's painting as an idea. If I'm, as a regular citizen, I'm looking at that painting, I'm like, okay, nice strokes, nice coloring, it's vibrant. That's it, right? But if I now come in and I say, and before you even see the painting, I'm like, okay, guys, this art piece that you're about to see, number one, it took 20 hours to make. The technique is very well refined, and most importantly, is going to make you feel a sense of peace and relief. Unveil the piece.
Yes.
Now you look at it, I've already kind of sold you a little bit. Yes. So now you're like, I guess it does make me feel peaceful. I guess I do feel a sense of relief because it's a sentiment. I have now made you feel a certain type of way when you're ready to look at that painting. You get what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
So there's a certain sense. How do you make me feel? Okay, you know what? I like it. It makes me feel good. I want to buy it. You feel me?
Yes.
That new car you have, it could have all the whistles and bells, but if that salesman is not making me, you know what I'm saying, I'm just like, it's a cool car, but I think I'll check out the other dealership, and then I might end up buying the same car, just from a different guy, from a different sales guy.
He puts the story in your mind.
Exactly.
You can play the film in your own mind, I think, and see yourself sat there. Man, I could really. Yeah. And they sell the experience, isn't it, of being in the car, of using. Like, Apple are one of the best in the world in terms of marketing. Because with Apple, they sell you on your experience of using the product, not on the features and the specs. So they don't say, well, the iPhone 15 Pro Max, 1 terabyte, yada. Do you want it? It's capture incredible memories. It's always some British guy narrating the iPhone. And it's like, I saw a big banner in London of like a waterfall and a guy just standing up looking at the waterfall. And at the very bottom in small writing, it said, shot on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. There's nothing on there about specs or anything like that.
Because you don't need it.
You don't need it.
You don't need that. I was another brilliant guy that I actually really like. I like his work is Sinek. Simon Sinek, yeah. And funny enough, I think we bumped into him. Me and TJ bumped into him. We hopped out of the office in Mayfair, and we just saw this guy there with his glasses. I'm like, Simon. He was just like, hey, how you doing? I think he was there for like a talk or whatever, like a little UK tour.
What a guy!
But dude, super guy, man. Like, he said something that was so interesting, and it stuck with me ever since I saw that TED talk. Right? He was like, listen, you want to start from the inside out. Right? Start from the inside out. and work your way through there. So if you have, let's just go back to Apple, use Apple as an example. Let's take Dell. The computer maker Dell, right? Dell.
Yeah.
Dell will say, okay, so we've got a new computer. It's got 1,000 bit of RAM. It's got fastest processing power. It's got super retina display. Do you want to buy it? I mean, the features sound great. I would probably buy it, probably. But now Apple comes along. They start from the inside out. They say, listen, we believe in great user experience. We believe in giving you the type of experience that will make you want to connect with your family and do things with them every single day. It just so happens to be that we make a phone. Would you like to buy? I'd like to buy, dude.
Yeah.
Screw your fastest RAM process. Screw all of that. My guy just said they will give me an experience. My guy said I would love to take photos with my family every day. I think I'm going to go for that phone. I think I want that device.
Yeah.
Because they're not focused. They're not focused on the features. Oh, it's got this, it's got that, it's got that, it's got this. Great. But that's not starting from the inside out. You're starting from the outside in. And when Simon Sinek said this in that talk, and this talk is very old now, by the way. So like 2009.
Yeah.
That's always like, it's very old now, bro. So I saw it, I was just like, wow, what a great perspective, And then once you kind of understand this, you can't help but like look at everything else and be like, wait, are they starting from the inside out?
Yeah, honestly, man. And
you know what I'm saying?
You start seeing everything that you do in a different way as well.
Yeah.
Like even in my case with content creation, I start thinking about, right, how am I showing up right now? Am I leading with, just general advice, or am I putting people in a position to change themselves through philosophical perspectives that have impacted, my life and many other people's lives? And I'm trying to put myself in the position of the person watching, so this has changed the way that I look at everything that I do. So instead of just being the generic guy, yeah, guys, make sure you do this, do that. There's millions of those people. I'm trying to figure out how to connect to the core, to a person.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Through my speech, through my public speaking, through the examples that I use. I'm trying to put myself in the position of a person who's looking at something for the first time, or trying to see the fault in their ways, but not from the perspective of, you're doing this wrong, do that instead. I want to put them in a position where they can see themselves in the state that they're currently in, and then see a better version of themselves. So that for me was a game-changing philosophy from Simon Sinek.
Yeah. And it's interesting what you said as well about that idea of perspective thinking. One of my colleagues, TJ, TJ, obviously, he once said to me, he said, you know what, Kev, perspective thinking can solve a lot of problems. Because if I can just stop for a second and be like, okay, you know what, before I do X, Y, Z, let me hop out of my shoes and let me hop in his boots for a second and let me look at it from his point of view. Okay, the decision that I'm going to make is probably going to be a little bit different now because I've applied some perspective thinking. If I'm just looking at it from my angle, that's the only angle I'm going to see. And especially if that's the only angle that I'm willing to see. So the fact that you said, you know what, you kind of step out of your own shoes, you put yourself in the consumers and the viewers or the listeners' shoes, and then try to see, okay, you know what are they looking at? What is their perspective whenever they're consuming this content or whatever it might be? And then suddenly you find that you probably start making, creating better content, better stuff, whatever it may be, because you've now stepped out of that single vision. You're not only looking at it from your point of view anymore, you're looking at it from his point of view. And that perspective thinking, dude, it's something that can definitely be a massive, massive game changer. And this goes for everything, even with some conflicts that could be easily avoided. You want to get angry at a guy because something happened or whatever it may be. Well, just pause for a second. Okay, well, why is this happening? Why is he behaving like this? Let me put myself in his shoes. Okay, he is working 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? I guess he's always stressed. Oh, his wife says that he ain't shit. You know what I mean? I don't know, dude. Any kind of perspective thinking will definitely make a difference. You feel me? So it's good that you're actually applying that, man. And I mean, the results are obviously clear as well. So
yeah, you know, for me, I would say probably around the age of 24, 25, I had a perspective shift around business in general. I stopped seeing business as just an avenue for me to make money. You know, obviously when you're young, you know, you're horny for money.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, man,
exactly.
I want to become an entrepreneur so I can buy a Lambo, I can do this.
Yeah, it's almost like a sex drive, but it's the money drive, dude.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it's such a shallow way of looking at things because all you're focusing on is the outcome.
Yeah.
You're not focusing on how you can generate the best possible value in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And the outcome is secondary. You know, this is something I advise the fellas that watch my channel. You know, the money is a consequence of you being so fucking competent at something.
Yeah.
It just chases
It's a result of it, right? It's a consequence. You're right. You're
I don't know if you've
right.
heard of the 4 stages of competence, you know, unconscious,
then,
incompetence.
yes, yeah. Then it sinks in. Then it becomes consciously. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. 100%.
That concept broke it down for me in a way that made sense. Because in the early stages, I was entitled because I wanted the results immediately, but I was at the unconscious incompetence stage where I didn't know what I didn't know. You know, for example, trading. When I got into trading, for me, it was a bunch of fucking lines on a screen. Yeah, I had this entitlement. I thought that I deserved to be making the money straight away. And this is something actually a lot of traders, and I'll get your perspective on this as well. I feel like a lot of traders struggle with this. They see it as some sort of a video game that if they can't hack the trading shit within the first couple of months, they start getting angry. And it's like, man, I knew it was a scam, you know, but when you actually dissect that emotion, it's entitlement. You feel like you deserve the result, but you're nowhere near being competent enough.
Yeah. You're right. You know, but anything can be a freaking scam, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can buy your car and they say, hey, it's in tip-top shape. You drive down the road and the chassis is freaking falling off. Anything can be a scam. I'm serious, dude. Quick side story. Buddy of mine from university, his name is Danny. The guy was in West London walking through the city, and these guys pull up in a van. They're like, "Hey, do you want to buy your MacBook?" Because obviously it's a student field. There's lots of students there, right? Like, "Hey, do you want to buy a MacBook? We're going to sell it for you half the price." Danny gets in the car. He looks at the MacBook. Everything checks out. Great. They do the exchange. He takes the box. He goes back home, goes back to the student dorms, opens the box, and it's a sack of potatoes.
Fucking
how are you? And you can be scammed for anything, dude.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm trying to say? I mean, those are the most expensive potatoes he's ever bought in his life. And I remember one time he said, you know, he came back from class and he saw that somebody used some of his potatoes and he flipped. He was like, yo, you know how much potatoes cost me? But no, man, listen.
Man, those are expensive potatoes.
I know. But no, you know, listen, you can get scammed for anything, dude. It just that you listen, you can even go to to a restaurant and feel like, you know what, this food was terrible. I just got conned. But does that mean you're never going to go back to another Italian restaurant?
No.
Most unlikely.
You know,
right?
you got to learn to take your L graciously.
Yes, and to be fair, bro, I think an L is temporary, only because if you linger on it, then you're holding that L for a little bit. But if it's an L, okay, cool, not doing that again, and it's done.
You know what messes us up?
Simple.
It's attaching to the L. That's what it's like holding a hot piece of coal. The longer you hold onto it, the more burn.
The more you're gonna get burnt.
Exactly.
The more you're gonna get burnt. The more you're gonna get burnt. That's absolutely true, you know. And you know that sense of entitlement once people first start trading, just to kind of go back to that, it's kind of typical. And
especially with trading, I feel, because it almost doesn't feel real.
Yeah,
it's one of those business models because there's nothing that you hold or ship across to a customer or inventory or a warehouse, whatever. It's just you, laptop on a phone.
Yeah, because it's kind of like intangible, right? That's why you have some investors, they don't really necessarily like trading because they feel like it's not something tangible, so they prefer, you know, the old school property, cars, whiskey, wine, you know, tangible assets. And I get it, but for me, the way that I look at it is this, okay? If trading is something that you really enjoy, the biggest advice that I always give, and you probably hear this a lot from some of the American traders, because I love stocks. I kind of specialized in stocks as well. So I'm saying this from a stock perspective, but it can apply to pretty much every other asset class, right? But find something that, even if it's a stock, let's just use a stock as an example for now. Find a stock that you can kind of get behind, in the sense of, you know, you like it, you know, you kind of know what's going on with it, enough for you to kind of give you an invested interest, right? So I remember when I first started trading, dude, I used to love all of the technology stocks, you know, Netflix, Apple, Amazon, like all of the technology. I don't know why, but around 2015, 16, 17, those stocks were hot, you know, they were very, very hot, along with a few other ones. But I was religiously kind of keeping up with them, and to the point that it almost became like hot gossip. You know, oh, Apple just released their first quarter numbers. Okay, let me check this shit out. Let me see what the numbers are. Yo, it becomes, you're so invested in it that it becomes fun. You know, you're like, they just dropped a new iPhone, huh? Let's see what the sales are gonna be like. You know what? Let me buy a few more stocks. You want to find something that you can kind of get behind, something that makes you excited. Something that makes you. Don't pick a stock in biochemistry or whatever if that's something that you don't give a damn about. Now, if you have some knowledge that, you know, some random stock that you really don't give a damn about is going to be doing quite well, by all means. But at the very beginning, kind of make it interesting. Set yourself up for success. Make it interesting for you as well. Because this way, if it doesn't quite go according to plan, you're not just going to sit there and be like, you know what? I never gave a damn about this stock anyway, man. I don't give a, you know what I'm saying? Listen, like, I remember there was this one guy, he loves fashion, right?
Yeah.
Street fashion, you know? So he's always got the latest Nikes. I mean, yo, before the latest Nikes even drops, he has them a month before, dude. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, dude, where are you getting this information? How do you even know that they're dropping the new Nike Blazer 657, whatever these names? I'm like, how the hell do you even know that? And he was like, hey, Kev, I got my sources. I'm like, well, yo, use that. Use those sources and tell me so I can buy some Nike stock before they release these new crepes that 1,000, 100,000 people are probably going to buy on the first day. You know what I'm saying? And fashion guy loves trainers, loves, you know, sneakers, grabs Adidas, all of this type of stuff. And I kind of said, you know what, you use that. If that's something you like, and you have all of these sources where you know when the release is coming out before it even comes out, hey, you might be able to make money in the stock market that way. If you know they're going to be releasing some new trainers or sneakers, whatever, and you think, hey, you know, I think a lot of people are going to buy this, man. I think for at least a week or so, Nike is going to have a lot of sales. Why don't you buy a couple stocks in Nike then? Make yourself a cheeky profit, as I like to say.
Yeah.
200 pounds. Yeah, that's fine. Well, how much did you put in? 100 pounds. Yeah, sweet. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So in the beginning, I think it's nice to have something that is kind of relative to you, something that you can get behind as well. It makes it more interesting, you know?
It does. I fully agree with that. I think that applies even outside of trading. If there's something that you have a natural tendency to look into, you're naturally curious about it, it makes working hard at that thing a lot easier. Like you won't feel like you're working hard because you have a natural interest.
Exactly.
And that natural interest is developed because, you know, a concern that I get from a lot of the young audience that watches my channel is, Ali, I'm 18, but I don't know what my interests are. I don't know what I find interesting.
Yeah, I get that though. I get that, man.
And I tell them, you're exactly where you need to be.
Yeah, exactly, right?
You're 18.
Yeah, makes sense.
Man, at 18, I didn't know anything as well, but that curiosity developed as I developed. As I got out there in the real world. The one thing I would say that helped me, and you'd probably agree it helped you as well, is you got to go out there. You got to be resourceful.
You have to, 100%. 100%.
You can't develop these things being indoors.
100%. It's not even the type of thing where you can sit down and just feel like, okay, you know what? One day it's just going to come to me. You know, you have to be proactive. You need to be proactive. Like, I remember I wasn't just sitting there thinking to myself, I wonder what's my career going to be? Where am I going to do it? I had an idea. Look, it's good to sort of have a little bit of an idea. You know what I mean? By the time you're 18, yeah, you should know yourself a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Not all the way, but you should have the basic sort of inclinations, right? Oh, I'm good at this, I like this, I don't like this, this is something I'm good at, this is something I'm not good at. Kind of have that sort of basic figured out, if you will. But be proactive, man. You know, don't sit there and do the same thing over and over and over again and expecting for a new result. That's by definition, that is the definition of insanity, dude. You know what I'm saying? I was going out there trying different things. I was just kind of lucky in the sense that from a very, very early age, I kind of already knew that, hey, I can connect with people, you know? I've got this natural ability to talk.
When did you feel that you figured that out?
You know what? I think as early as I could remember. Really? Because I really feel this way. Even from my earliest memories that I have, I've always been kind of like bubbly, you know, a little bit cheeky, quick, you know, mouthy, quick with my wits, sort of thing. But in a positive way, you know, not necessarily in a negative way, like, oh, look at this guy. No, in a funny, outgoing, funny, you know, positive type of way. So I've always known that. Even some of my family members, when they're telling me stories of when I was little, I'm like, you know, I don't remember that, but it sounds right.
It sounds like me, yeah.
It sounds like me, you know? Yeah. So I was kind of lucky that I kind of figured out from early, but then it was also developed, you know, because from a young age, you know, I come from Sierra Leone originally, as I mentioned. We had the Diamond War that happened in Sierra Leone. I was young, but we moved a few countries. So, and I remember, I have vague memories of this, right? So, which means that I had no choice. I had to get to know people, bro. When you're moving from this country, then now you're over here, then now you're over there. How am I going to make friends if I'm not bubbly? If I can go there, hey, what's up? My name is Kevin Kallon. If I'm not able to do that, bro, I'm never going to make friends. I would never make friends. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
Then the Netherlands. Moved in a few different places in the Netherlands. I wasn't living in one place. I lived in the south. I lived in the east. I lived in the northwest. England. Lived in London. Now I'm in Milton Keynes. Then I was back in London. Then I moved. I had no choice. Then on top of that, I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, which is a religion that kind of forces you to, you know, learn how to sell. You know, I remember my first public talk I had. It was a Bible reading. It was on the podium. We're talking about like 200-300 people in the congregation, and I was reading a Bible verse. A Bible passage. First time I did it, I was like 6 or something. 6. Wow. 6 years old, talking in front of 200-300 people, you know. Then on top of that, we go out what we used to call the field ministry. So we go knocking on doors. I don't know if they've ever knocked on your door.
I've had a few.
And they sell the magazines. That's not easy.
Yeah.
Grew up doing it, so to me it's whatever. But knocking, you're basically doing door-to-door sales.
That's what it is, yeah.
It's basically door-to-door sales. Hey, knock, knock, knock. Hi, good afternoon, sir. My name is Kevin Kallon. This is my dad, Michael. We're just here today wondering, how do you feel God's salvation? Whatever it might be. You know, I'm selling.
You're selling. Yeah.
Sounds great. Well, you know what? Here's a magazine. Would it be okay if we maybe come check in next week around the same time? Great. That's my return visit. And I've been doing it since, like I said, I was raised in this religion, right? So that kind of helps.
Would you say that your environment as a child growing up is an important factor
100%.
in you being outspoken?
It's definitely,
because it seems like you grew up in an environment that pushed you outside of your comfort zone pretty early on.
Big time, man.
And there's families now with their kids, and I'm seeing this with some of my friends and their children now already. It's always, no, be careful, you know, don't let him go out there and say, you know, to speak to strangers. I mean, I'm 29 now. How old are you?
29 this month.
29 as well, right?
Yeah, my birthday is literally in 2 weeks. It's the 1st of July, right? Today's
1st of July.
So literally in 14 days is my birthday. Thank you, sir.
You know, but you probably noticed this from the difference from our generation and the generation after us.
Yeah.
We had that life of going outside and just, you know, hi, nice to meet you. You know, we were out and about. Technology was in its very early stages, in its infancy. In a way. And the crazy thing is, you know, funny that you mentioned that, because I remember, because I've got a little brother, Masai,
He's a singer. He's like 24 or 5 now, 1999. So he's actually a 90s kid, just on the brink. The 27th of December, right into right on the very end. And then I've got a little sister as well. She's turning 23 next month, I think. But here's the thing, right? I remember when I was a little kid, dude, 6 years old. I was biking on my little bicycle, cycling to school, crossing roads, waiting in front of traffic lights, strangers left, right, and center, going uphill, going downhill, locking my bike, the whole shebang. 6, 7 years old, right? Do you think that, and I'm only maybe 4.5 years older than my little brother, but if you would ever think that when my brother was my age, that I would let this guy go on a bike and back to school, you're kidding me, dude. Because it's not the same. The world is not the same anymore. You feel me? That does not necessarily mean that you should now, you should now bring them all in and not let them go out. Dude, there needs to be, but I understand the world has changed. I do get that. But I remember when we were young, man, it's not the same thing. I go out alone. Crazy. My mom never, listen, my little brother and sister, they used to get, a certain type of way when my mom was a couple minutes late or they didn't get a lift. They had to take the bus, they get so, I'm going to take the bus there. I'm like, man, shut up. I was cycling when I was 6. And not only cycling through just a country lane, I was crossing roads, man.
Yeah.
You know how dangerous that is nowadays, even to fathom. Imagine just being outside, you see a 6-year-old kid on the bike alone. Even now, I'll be like, hey, where's your parents, dude?
Yeah.
Even now, it's kind of like a bit of a strange sight,
That's true, and I'm just thinking about it as well. It's actually interesting because our parents, when we were like 6, 7, 8, they'd let us go and see our friends and go to a park and into a forest somewhere and shit for 8 hours without knowing where we were. There were no phones.
What do you mean? I got my first cell phone when I was my first year in high school. I was 12, dude. I don't know when you got your first cell phone.
Man, I think I was about 15, 16.
See? There you go.
I had a Motorola with,
there you go.
Obviously, it wasn't touchscreen or anything, and it was just to call my mom and let her know where I was.
I had one of those orange Sony Walkmans. You know those ones.
Icons.
Icons, man, No phones, bro. How is it that I could leave my house, go away for half the day, in the same city, but in the same town, but in a whole nother neighborhood, no phone call, no text message, no pager, no nothing. And I come back home safe and sound in one piece. Hey, Mom, how you doing?
Yeah. Like a house cat.
Like a house cat, bro.
Where is he?
Yeah,
he'll be back.
He'll be back.
Yeah.
He'll be all right. Isn't that crazy? I mean, when I think about it, it sounds nuts, man.
Even now, like if I had a child, even now, a part of me would be like, man, what the fuck is he doing? Like, I'd be worried if he's gone for 2 hours and I don't know where the hell he is.
Right?
The world's changed, man. It's actually crazy.
Changed. Yeah, it's changed, but the best thing to do is, especially for, you want to start a family and stuff like that, put yourself in the type, or at least try to put yourself in the type of environment that keeps your kids protected, but still gives them that little bit of taste of independence and freedom. And I don't say that in like, oh, I want to be free and let your kids be free or whatever. No, freedom in the sense that there comes a certain level of personal responsibility, because it's a whole different thing when you're 6 years old, you're cycling and you're crossing roads. I'm responsible for myself, dude. I'm looking left, I'm looking right, I'm looking left again, one more right before I hit that road. It takes a certain, so it's not just freedom. Oh, I'm free, I can go here, I can do that. No, freedom comes with a certain level of responsibility. So if you can, you're a young family or whatever, put yourself in a position where, your kids are protected from all the creeps and whatever out there, but also that they can at least experience a certain level of freedom that involves personal responsibility, and we're grateful because, sort of where we live in our area, there is enough space to do that, if you know what I'm saying, depending on the right movements,
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that, because I believe that giving a child room to make mistakes and get hurt also dictates their relationship with risk in the future.
Yeah,
because if you grew up in an environment where every little thing that you do is closely monitored by your parents, and no, be careful, oh, don't do that. If everything is, dangerous and scary, and you're protected by your parents, that protection could fuck you up in the future, because then you could grow up to be an adult who is scared of risk.
Yeah,
even the smallest type of risk.
Yeah,
like, moving across the road to a different street.
Yeah.
Oh, no, but I don't know that street.
Yeah.
There are people, and it shocks me, there are people that are so terrified of things that I would look at and think, man, shut the fuck up, man. This is nothing. Yeah. But there are people out there that grew up in homes where, I mean, their parents were afraid of change. Their parents were closely monitoring everything they were doing, so that they grow up and they're scared of, anything that comes to mind.
Dude,
it's crazy.
Listen, we're African, man. Our parents, they made the biggest move that anyone could have, which is going to a whole nother country, not in your own continent, a whole different place. We have an appetite. We have a healthy appetite for risk because of our parents, our upbringing, and stuff like that. And what you said is absolutely true. Teaching your children how to have a healthy appetite for risk. We know this in trading because we talk about, hey, what's your appetite for risk and this type of stuff, right? And I mentioned earlier, I have a breakdance academy. I teach kids how to break dance and this type of stuff, right? Which you could say, hey, breakdancing is a bit of a risky thing, you're flipping, you're spinning on your heads. Are these kids going to be safe doing that? Well, here's the thing. What do I always tell my kids, my young students rather? I never tell them to be careful. I either say, hey, be mindful of what you're doing, because I don't want you to be careful, like, oh, I gotta balance, I gotta walk, don't be careful. Be mindful. Yeah. Pay attention to what you're doing. That's all that I need. You make a mistake, you make a mistake. Because if someone tells me to be careful, that now automatic to me, not only to me, but to most people, the insinuation is, oh, be careful. Okay, wait, there's something here that, there's something around the corner that is not even could, but that is definitely going to go wrong. But if you say, hey, be mindful, okay, cool, thank you. I'm watching, I'm looking, okay, cool. The coast is clear, okay, my hand is in the right place. Well, Kev said I got to keep my hips up, I'm mindful. I'm just being mindful now. I'm most likely going to be okay. Or I just say to them, pay attention to what you're doing. Be aware of what you're doing. Be mindful of what you're doing. But I'll never say, hey, be careful.
Exactly.
It's so overused, and the connotations of it have already been, it's already negative now. If somebody tells me to, hey, just be careful when you go there, in my mind, I'm just like, fuck, dude, what do you mean? What do you mean? But if you just say, hey, Kev, you know what? Have a good time. Obviously, be mindful of your surroundings, be aware. I'm like, that's good advice. That sounds a whole lot more healthy than, hey, be careful when you go there, man. Now I'm freaked out. I'm not fucking going there anymore. I'm not going anymore.
And this over caution could actually have a negative impact.
It can.
I see it, a good example of that is driving.
Yeah.
Drivers who are overly cautious or hesitant of their ability to judge a gap or whatever end up actually causing more accidents than drivers that are like, all right, there's space, fuck it, I'm gone.
Because you can overcorrect. There's such a thing as overcorrection. You can overcorrect. And when you overcorrect, you typically end up not necessarily making the mistake that you were going to make. You end up making a whole nother fucking mistake. You end up making a mistake that you didn't even know was in the textbook. You feel me? So I was gonna make an interesting point actually. I know what I was gonna say. So there was a doctor named Maxwell Maltz, Dr. Maltz. He's dead now, right? But he was actually a plastic surgeon, funnily enough. Plastic surgeon. He was a plastic surgeon. And he wrote this thing that I found was really interesting, For some people, they can actually benefit from not giving a damn. Not everybody, because there's some people that care too much, or there's some people that put too much emphasis on what they're doing to the point that it becomes a detriment to the success of what they're doing. They overcorrect. They overcorrect, Just relax. Be at ease. Be mindful. I will never say, hey, take your mind off whatever you're doing and just go buck wild, just go loose. No, there's no need for that. Be mindful of it. But if you overdo it, then you end up overcorrecting, and then you end up making a mistake that, like I said, you didn't even know this was part of the mistake handbook. You're like, damn, I didn't even know this was a mistake to be made, and I just made it because you're overcorrecting. Not everybody is like that, because sometimes it's in line with your personality a little bit as well. There's some people who are so much in their head, they can benefit from, hey, dude, chill the hell out, man. Because now you're overcorrecting to the point that you just looking weird. Right? And not only are you looking weird, you're making everybody else feel weird now. That one's there.
Yeah. No, I fully agree with that. I think there needs to be respect for failure and risk, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, you will fail.
Yeah, it's a guaranteed.
It's a guarantee, and it's necessary to as well, because
it's part of the
failure
growth.
teaches you.
Yeah.
But then there's certain types of failure that are unnecessarily caused through overcaution, as we've spoken about.
Exactly.
And you start coming up with mistakes that, weren't in the handbook.
It weren't even in the handbook, because you look at okay, so there's a potential for this to happen. Yeah. This can happen. This can happen. This can happen if you don't do X, Y, Z. You end up making a mistake that we're gonna add that to handbook. Thank you. Actually, now we know. Now we know what not to do. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And there was actually somebody that I went to high school with, right? Very nice guy, down to earth kind of guy. But he was always so conscious, rather, of, what other people thought of the way he spoke, the way he speaks, because he's got like a stammer, like a slight stutter in his voice. And sometimes that made him even more. And listen, I have my little brother actually stutters. Not as much anymore, because, we've kind of just taught him, and I mean, in an environment that he grew up in with myself and the rest of my family, obviously, is just hey, listen, be at ease. Don't be so focused on your next word. Relax, speak freely. They will probably not even notice. They'll probably not even notice that you got a stutter, right? And this is what I said to him, because it became so bad. A clever kid. He became so bad that he never even wanted to speak. And you know me, like I said, I don't judge, man. I can be everybody's friend, especially when I was in high school, dude. I was friends with the cool kids, the freaking nerds. I was friends with the athletes. I was friends with everybody, dude. You know what I'm saying? Even with the kid who was, considered to be a bit of a, awkward one or whatever. I always be like, hey, what's up, man? How was your weekend? This type of shit. Yeah. And I said to him, I'm like, listen, take it easy, breathe. Don't think about the fact that, hey, I'm probably going to stutter on my next word. Don't think about that. You know what I'm saying? Just relax, be in the moment, be mindful of what you're saying, but don't be thinking like, okay, the next word, I need to be saying it like this, because if not, I'm going to stutter. And then what ends up happening, take a lap. Now, exactly. So I know how that goes.
No, I fully agree with you. I think if you're so worried about something going wrong, you self-sabotage. You do. It's human nature. If I approach anything and I'm already telling myself I'm gonna fail at this, they're looking at me and they're thinking I'm weird or that I'm not speaking right. You attract that circumstance.
You do. And there was
people don't actually give a fuck as much as we think as well.
Dude, not really. You know why? It's like this. Most people are already consumed with their own shit.
Yeah.
I don't have time to be looking at your shit and then being stressed out about you, because I've got my own fish to fry. Why am I going to be bothered about that? So that's the fact. You're right. Dude, most of the time people don't even give a damn, because they're probably in their own world, or they're probably thinking, hey, what does that guy look? What does that guy think? They're already consumed.
Everyone's paranoid to an extent.
Everybody's paranoid to an extent.
One exercise that I tell some of the students that I coach is, if you're nervous in social settings, I want you to go to a busy environment. Like, a great example of this is somewhere like Leicester Square.
Yeah.
Can you vividly remember the face of the person that you walked past in Leicester Square a month ago?
Of course not.
There's millions of people walking past in London.
Exactly.
And for you, unless it was a celebrity, someone that you knew that had notoriety, the average person that has walked past you, you'd never know.
You would never know.
Your mind can't put the image together of the person that you saw a month ago.
Yeah.
So you are going to be forgotten within seconds of someone walking past you.
Yeah.
So if you go into a crowded environment like Leicester Square, and let's say there was something that you wanted to do, like sing your heart out.
Yeah.
People will look at you. And look, they might look at you and they may make an assumption of you.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But within seconds of them walking off with their friends and talking, oh, by the way, have you seen the new film, man? You're forgotten about.
Yeah.
And the next day, they won't even remember you were there.
Dude, the thing is...
It's crazy.
The thing is, bro, without sounding too harsh, but you're not that important to other people, dude. You're important to your family. You're important to the people that actually know you, who really, really care about you. And I'm not saying you specifically. I'm speaking in generalities here. Same goes to me. I was where did I read this now? This is a very, very, very old book from the early 1900s, right? It's called As a Man Thinketh. Great book.
Brilliant book. Yeah.
You know it.
It's actually on my bookshelf.
Oh, you got it in the show?
Yeah.
That's how I know you legit, man.
Come on now.
That's how I know you legit, dude. James Allen, I think?
Yeah.
James Allen said something interesting in there. He said, look, if you actually this could have actually been from Dr. Maltz. This could have been from Dr. Maltz's book Psycho-Cybernetics. Nevertheless, he's like this. He said something so interesting. And dude, once I actually really sat down and I pondered upon this idea, my outlook changed. When you're worrying about something, right? Or you're concerned, oh, what are they gonna say? What are they gonna think about me? Yeah, that's fair. But what's on the other side of that coin? Well, what if it goes right? What if what if whatever you're doing, it goes perfectly according to plan? You do it exactly just as you had in mind, just as you have envisioned. Great. When you're worrying, when you're thinking, oh, this is gonna happen, is the same thing that you're doing. But on the flip side, when you're actually thinking, okay, you know what? It's gonna go exactly like this today. I don't know if it's gonna go like that. Just as much as I don't know if I'm gonna fail or what this person's gonna think of me, whatever the hell it is. So if you can worry, well, flip that worry on its head and think about, well, what if it goes right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing. So why then would I sit there, torture myself with all the things that could possibly go right or wrong, even though I don't even know?
Yeah, there's no concrete evidence.
Concrete evidence. So why will then I much rather sit down and think about all the things that could possibly go right? Number one, it's better for my mental.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be sitting there freaking the hell out. Okay, this is going to go wrong today. Why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah.
You don't know for sure. Just as you don't know for sure if it's going to go right. But you know what? I'm going to lead with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out there thinking, hey, you know what? I'm comfortable in my skin. When people interact with me, they're going to have an even better day because that's what I'm going to provide. That's what I have to offer. That's how I go about my every single day. What if it goes right? You feel me?
You know what? With that approach, with that outlook, things just end up working your way. I mean, it's fascinating. Does that mean there's a guarantee that it will? No. But there's a higher chance that things will work out for you if you have a positive outlook. Positive doesn't mean you're naive. It doesn't mean that you're unaware of the risks involved. It just means that I choose to have positive expectancy every day.
Yeah.
Because I don't wake up every day to lose. Why would I wake up and gear myself to losing? Get myself all worked up, get myself all stressed out. And stress, as we know, is one of the biggest killers in today's society. It is.
It does. Stress can do things to people, man. It can make you sick. It can make you lose your hair. It can really, 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 really make you do things. But like you said, you don't wake up setting yourself up for failure. You wake up setting yourself up for success. You know what I'm saying? And the way that I look at it as well, and this is just my general day-to-day sort of mindset, right? Stress can also be a mindset. It can be certain things that, okay, let me give an example. Car broke down. Now I'm stressed, right? It's typically is your opinion on the matter. That's what gives you that negative connotation. And now you're stressed, right? Whereas you could say, okay, my car broke down. What's my next solution? What's my next move? Yeah, it's stressful, dude. You might be late for work. You might miss your train. You might not even miss anything. You're just going to be 15 minutes delayed to go do your shopping at Tesco's or whatever. Your opinion of that matter is what's actually going to give you stress. Hey, my train is late. Now I'm not going to make it in time for my concert. Yeah, that's shitty, dude. It can cause you stress. But if I just say, hey, you know what? My train is late. Fuck it. Let me go grab myself a beer. Let me go grab myself a coffee. Let me go grab a cappuccino. Let me listen to my music. Wait on the next train. Hey, you know what? Let me go make some conversation. There's a pretty girl sitting down there. Hey, what's up? My name is Kevin. You missed your train too. I'm sure that's gonna make you feel better.
Yeah, and who knows where that could lead?
Who knows where that could lead, man? You know what I'm saying? So you're right. Stress is a big time killer, and it is a mindset. Listen, I choose not to get stressed. Oh, it sounds weird. Well, you can't choose. Stress, it just comes and you're stressed. No, the fuck it doesn't, dude. I choose. It's my choice. It's my choice. You can have somebody on their deathbed, literally 1 day away from death, and you can ask them, hey, how do you feel right now? I feel great. You know why? Because all of these things, so many things rather, are out of my control. But there's one thing that I have some influence over. You know what that is? My mood. And if you really think about it, bro, is your mood something as so basic? So basic. So the most basic thing ever is your mindset and your mood. You want to tell me that that is something you actually do have some sort of control over. Everything else, forget about it. That's not in your control. So when I say, hey, you can ask a guy laying on his deathbed, hey, how do you feel right now? And they say, hey, I feel great. Yeah, I believe that actually, because it's your choice. You can either lay there and be like, I'm gonna die tomorrow, so screw it. What's the point? I'm not even gonna be happy today. I'm just gonna be sad. I'm gonna be downtrodden, and I'm gonna let everybody know that I'm sad and I feel shitty about life right now. Yeah, sure, that's one option, and you'll be perfectly valid laying on your deathbed. I get it.
Yeah.
But what's the other side of that? You know what I'm saying? At least, dude, you're already suffering, man. At least give yourself, try to be in a better mood. Give yourself something.
No, 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
At least, dude, you're already struggling, dude. You know what I mean? There's already so many things that we have reasons to be stressed out about, but at least the very minimum, try to lift yourself up,
Yeah,
that's
100%.
the least you can do for yourself. That's one thing you have some kind of control over.
I fully agree. And the thing is with your mood as well, it influences your actions, and that's the danger of it.
Shit. Damn,
so if your mood is down and deflated, you're not going to go out there and take action and turn your life around. You're going to stay in this state of sorrow and misery. And that could actually prolong over several years. That's what people don't realize. The danger of being in a bad mood. Look, this is something I've said. You're not always going to be uplifted and feeling great. Because you're human. Because you're human, and life is chaotic in nature, right?
Exactly.
However, learn to discipline your emotions. Don't let your emotions get the better of you.
I like that.
If you're feeling down, feel down. But acknowledge it for what it is. It's a temporary moment of dissatisfaction. But when you sit there and you really start looking into this emotion and why am I down? Why is my life this and why is my life that? And then you start to really dig deeper. You're digging yourself a deeper grave.
True.
But I've said this before. For example, people ask the question of, but how can I become more happy? What I tell them is happiness is a visitor. It comes and goes. It's not supposed to be there all the time. Your expectation of it being there all the time is what's disappointing you. Right? It's a visitor. So there'll be moments of absolute euphoria and happiness and glee in life. And that will be followed by moments of dissatisfaction, sadness. And you know what? They're both necessary. And you won't feel the magnitude of happiness without the pain of sadness.
Exactly. You're right. That's why sometimes in order to win, you have to lose, right? In order to gain a new insight, you have to lose, something first. Not necessarily, right? But we're talking about, the mistakes, the downfalls, all the things that, quote unquote, you have to take an L, so to say. But it's not really an L because it's just a step in, in wherever the hell you're going. And I remember I've got a friend of mine, actually, Saudi guy. He used to live in London. I went into his home and I saw this beautiful. You know what? The art, the piece itself, if I can even call it an art piece, but it's kind of decorative, I guess. There's nothing special about the piece itself, but it's what it says on it, right? And funnily enough, when I got my apartment a few years ago, I was at one of these secondhand shops, just looking for some art piece and stuff like that. And I saw the same exact one.
Really?
Dude, I bought that shit quicker than you could have even say the word go, dude. I saw it. I'm like, yeah, going to the cashier now. I'm copying this shit straight away because it just spoke to me. And what it said is this. It says, happiness is a way of life and it's not a destination. Okay? Just like you said, dude, you can't be happy every day. But guess what? It is my way of life. You know what I'm saying? It is. Yeah, it is. It is. Because I'm not going to say, well, you know what, AB, once I get to this place, and I'm going to be happy. Suddenly I'm going to be happy. There's no destination to it, man. It should actually be a way of life. That's the way that you should live your life, right? And I wanted to say something earlier. You said something about what was it now? I was going to say something. I don't know. What were you said you were talking about how, you know, oh yeah, I know what it was. So we were talking about your mood in general, right? And you know how, you know, you can't always be happy. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, and so on and so forth. That is absolutely true. But sometimes, you know, I feel like you also need to have an outlet that can bring you some happiness, even if it's temporary, you know?
Yeah.
Even if it's for a day, dude, yeah. Do have some kind of outlet that will give you, even just to lift you up, even if it's for a day. You know what I'm saying? And as we both know, because we actually met in the gym, physical exertion is a great way to lift up your mood a little bit. Hey, it's not gonna last for a whole week, but it might last for 24 hours. So the following day or two, you might have to do it again. But guess what? I much rather do that every other day or every day and give myself a quick, you know, morale boost for 24 hours than sit there and just say, fuck it, dude. It's never, you know, I'm doom and gloomed. And
you know, that morale boost over a period of time will turn into fulfillment.
Exactly.
So you initially go because, you know what, going to the gym makes me feel good after. I get that high for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then 5 years later, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, man, I'm in incredible shape. Then that feeling of fulfillment stays.
Yes,
that lingers.
Exactly. Because you've done something that genuinely takes hard work, long, you know, and dedication, but it can be done. It can be done. And what I wanted to add on to that, right, is, you know, that idea of doing that, you know, that physical exertion. I mean, it's actually a proven fact. Whenever you do something that's physical, and by the way, for all the listeners out there, man, going to the gym and pumping iron and whatever, that's not the only way of physical exertion. Because I'm sure there's going to be some people here like, oh, I don't like to go to the gym, yada. Fine. Go do some rollerblading. I don't freaking know, dude. Go ice skating then. You know, if you want to do something else, that's still something physical. You know what I'm saying? Go play some football. Go play some tennis. Go do some badminton even. Table tennis, whatever you want to do. Something physical. And normally what I always say, because sometimes I hear people to say to me, but Kev, the gym is not really my thing and yada. Fine. Well, what did you love to do growing up? Well, I love a bit of football. I was in my football team, yada. Hey, go join your local football team then. I'm sure they have an over 25 little Sunday league you can do. Go join that. Number one, you're getting some physicality in you. And also, you're connecting with people. You're around people and stuff like that. So it doesn't necessarily always have to, go to the gym and pump weight. Just something that gives you some sort of physical exertion, because it is proven. When you do something physical, something strenuous, it floods your body with serotonin, which is known as the happiness hormone, right? That's why sometimes you might go to the gym, 20 minutes, first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, everybody's, especially back in the day at our gym, how the atmosphere, maybe the first 10 minutes, everybody's just kind of, going through their reps, busting out their sets. 30 minutes later, everybody's like high-fiving each other. Everybody's like hugging each other, giving bugs, this kind of shit. Because serotonin is flooding through your body right now. Your mind is buzzing. Why? Because you're doing something that takes a bit of a physical exertion. You've experienced that,
Absolutely.
right? You know, first 10 minutes you go into the gym and you're just like, okay, you know what? I'm here. Let me do my thing. Let me get it done. Yo, 30 minutes later, bro, I'm pumped. My mind is flooded. Yo, I'm high-fiving everybody in that gym, dude. You know what I'm saying? 100%. I'm walking by. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? Hey, bro, even the cleaners, I'm like, hey, what's up, dude? Hey, you good? You good? Hey, how's the family? Nice. My man. Because that's what physical exertion does. It gives you that. It's like this. You know, physical exertion, it sounds terrible, right? Because you're exerting yourself. It's kind of tiring, this and that. But why is it that doing something hard can make you feel good? Why? It sounds crazy, right? Doing something, which shows you that there is clearly a very big importance to hard work, right? Put into work. It's going to make you feel good. Trust me, it will.
Yes.
Why is it when you finish working out, deadlifting 150 kilos for God knows how many reps, you know, doing chest or whatever, yo, that shit is not, it's hard, dude. But when you finish, my God, do you feel good?
You feel incredible.
Right?
You feel incredible.
And you know what? I have now personally gotten to the stage where I don't necessarily work out just to look good anymore. I've been there, dude. I've been there. I've been at the stage where I was just like, you know what? I'm going to hit these weights. I'm going to get fucking yoked. And I'm going to get all these girls. I've been there, dude. I'm a dude. I'm a guy. You've been there.
Yeah.
Everybody's been there. But now I'm at the stage where I don't really care necessarily about how I look. Because chances are, I already know I look decent. I'm not a fucking Mr. Universe, and neither do I want to be Mr. Olympia or anything like that. But I take care of my body. I know I look pretty decent. Now, my physical routine, it's more about my mental. Isn't that crazy? I do something physical to keep my mentality in check. I'm not doing something physical just to only keep my physicality in check. I've been there, done that, man. Now, I finish my workout. It's not about, okay, how do I look? It's just about, how do I feel? I feel great. You know why? Because I've just done that. I took 1 hour. I put myself through physical discipline. I put myself through hard work. I feel like I'm in control as well.
That's so true.
I feel like I'm in control as well.
There's a saying that I believe in. When you feel good, you do good.
When you feel good, you do good. Exactly.
And it has a knock-on effect on other areas in your life as well. You come back from the gym, you're feeling great, you shower, you put on some nice clothes, you spray some fragrance. Now you're heading out to go on a date with a girl. You feel good. She gets a better version of you as well. Because she sees the enlightened Kevin. She sees the version of you who is engaging in acts of self-care. Exactly.
And you know what? It doesn't necessarily always have to start like that, because life is a journey. And you have to go through the journey by accepting all the different phases that you go through, right? And so at the beginning, if you're just like, listen, I'm purely at this stage, I'm overweight, I'm just doing this shit to look good. That's fine, dude.
That's fine. It gets you going.
That's fine, man. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm not saying this as in like, screw that. No, that's fine. Dude, I remember, maybe in like my early sort of to mid 20s, one of my friends, his name is Joyce. Where is he from again? He's from Switzerland, but from Angola originally, right? And I remember him and I were like gym partners, we always used to go out together and stuff like that. And dude, we were so much into our looks and, our physique or whatever that before we hit the club, you know what we do? We go to the gym for 10 minutes. We'll just get a casual pump. And going out, club, we'll take our t-shirt off. We're not to sweat. We're not going to be busting a sweat, but just a quick little pump. Why? Because this is what we were feeding into, man. Look, and now when I look back at it, I'm like, I was fucking crazy, dude. The fact that we're going out, we're looking good, but yet we're just like, hey, you want to do a quick pit stop at the gym, get a quick pump? Now I'm way past that stage, man. Because like I said, I'm only doing it to really keep my mentality in check. So You know, having a good physical routine, making sure that you're taking care of your body. It does not only have physical applications, rather. It's also good for your mental.
Absolutely.
You know, it's also good for your mental.
Yeah, your cognitive function changes completely.
Exactly.
You gain clarity.
Yep.
You know, you're able to make better decisions.
Yep.
And yeah, man, there's a quote from the late, great Jim Rohn, which I live by, which is everything affects everything. No event is solely isolated.
Nice. It's almost like a butterfly effect kind of thing, right?
Exactly. It's like the domino effect as well, you know? So like your decision to not clean your room today will have an impact on another decision. Maybe you decide, man, I'm too tired to brush my teeth. So you go to sleep without brushing your teeth. Then you wake up and there's something that maybe you need to get the bins out, but you're like, man, I'll do it after work. And it's a series of decisions, poor decisions, that compound and become who you are as a guy. You're just that guy who just doesn't take things seriously.
Yeah.
Always, delays the important stuff.
Yeah.
And it becomes your reputation.
Yeah.
And the most important reputation is the one you have with yourself. You know, if you look at yourself and you don't even respect the man you see in the mirror,
dude,
then other people won't respect you.
So
every day now, when I live life, I'm thinking about, is this decision going to make me respect myself more or dislike myself? So if there's something I need to do, maybe something stupid, like, you know what, I was going to get a new key for my house. You know, should I do it today or should I do it tomorrow? And you know what, I've been talking about doing it. Let me just do it today. Let me get it out the way. I need to do it today because I don't want to see myself as a procrastinator.
Oh, that's such a good point you make, man. Oh, you make such a good point there.
I want to see myself as someone who gets things done quickly.
Yes,
and also
Mr. Getting It Done.
Mr. Getting It Done.
Sure.
And a lot of guys don't realize that this also affects the way their woman sees them. Because there's a lot of guys in relationships right now that are like, they're just slow to do things and their woman notices. And there's a book which I recommend every man buys called The Way of the Superior Man by David Dider. And he talks about the reason why your woman lashes out isn't because of that single event that took place. Maybe she told you to take the bins out and you said, no, I'm watching something, I'll do it later. It's not that sole event. It's the build up. It's
a collective.
It's the collective.
Yeah.
It's why a lot of guys often feel blindsided when their woman says, this isn't working out.
Yeah.
It didn't happen just randomly one day. She woke up and decided not to be with you. It's the neglect that has taken place. Not necessarily the neglect of her, but the neglect of oneself. She's seeing your condition deteriorate. She's seeing the promises that you're making to yourself you're not following through on. So after a while, she's like, this guy's not dependable. He's not dependable to himself. But how can I depend on him as his woman? How can I trust that he will have my best interest at heart? How can I trust that he will take care of my children if he can't even take care of the promises he's made to himself? So after a while, she's like, you know what? This isn't working out. And the guy's like, what? What do you mean this isn't working out? And then he's acting all shocked and surprised when this was a slow deterioration. So I always tell the fellas that watch my videos, do not allow neglect to take a hold of your life, to grow roots and paralyze you. So that means that everything that you do matters. Every decision you make has weight. It's very important. Everything affects everything. No single event is isolated. So, and there's another way of putting it really. There's another great quote. How you do anything is how you do everything, right? If you do the small things, with carelessness, then how can you expect to do the big things to such a high level?
Right.
How can you expect to be world class at something?
Right.
If you don't even clean your car properly. Like imagine setting an hour to clean your car. And, you start hoovering and stuff. But then after about 45 minutes, you get a little bit tired. But there's still loads of shit in the car. And you're like, that'll do.
Yeah.
Really? That'll do? Yeah. So you've just wasted 45 minutes to not even complete the job?
To do a half job, right?
To do a half job,
yeah.
Is your time really not that valuable to you? Because that's what it communicates. It communicates my time isn't important to me. Because if it was, I would have done this job excellently.
But you said a couple things that I find so interesting, dude. Like, number one, and I say this as well, you've heard people say this. Listen, if you're not going to be honest with us, at least be honest with yourself, dude. At least. Because look, hey, in front of people, I can put on this facade, right? But I'm at home, when there's nobody around, who am I then? Am I still this guy that's putting up the facade? No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm unequivocally myself at this point. And like you said, when I look at myself in the mirror, am I happy with the dude that I see? You know what I'm saying? That's a head scratcher right there. That's a head scratcher right there. Are you? You feel me? Because like, yeah, you can put up a facade, dude. Everybody can do that, you know? But at the end of the day, at the very least, right? It's about you. You know, be honest with you. I don't care if you're honest with me, dude. You know, doesn't take any sleep away from me. But at the very least, be honest with your own damn self. And another point that another thing that you mentioned that I just wanted to comment on is that idea of getting it done. You know, and you said, you know, you wake up one day, you don't feel like making your bed. Cool, no worries. What's next? You feel me? What's next? Toilet is a bit dirty. Fuck it. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it this evening, right? Okay, now what else? Hey, it happens to all of us, man. I've been there. Yeah. I woke up one time and I'm like, actually my bed I normally make, but I remember one time I was looking at my kitchen. I'm just like, oh, dude, I really don't want to fucking do this dishes right now, dude. Left it, you know? Next day, it's still there. Why did I not? And by the way, I always like my kitchen is one place that absolutely has to always be clean. I don't like this being here, pots being here. My kitchen has to be always clean because it's such a place that can easily get dirty, you know, with food and this and that or whatever. So for me to even make that decision, the next day, I already fucked up because I know how important it is actually. Yeah. But sometimes, you know, you're tired. Sometimes you know, whatever it may be, right? But then the next day I feel guilty, you know? I'm just like, damn it, man. Because now I have to wake up to a fucking shitty, dirty, skinny
it hasn't
kitchen.
gone away. It
you know what I'm
hasn't
saying?
cleaned itself overnight.
Exactly.
And what the crazy thing is, your life, if it's the same today as it was 5 years ago, that's a manifestation of your lack of action.
Woo! Damn.
That's the dishes not being cleaned.
Every year you should be improving, dude. I don't want to see the same AB I saw 9 years ago when we first met. I want to see something different and hopefully something better, which I am seeing. You know what I'm saying?
And likewise, brother. Likewise.
Thank you, man. But look, you know, going back to the idea of getting it done, right? I just want to give my own personal anecdote to that. I remember, and you know, the thing is, as you go through life, you go through different experiences, priorities change, right? Some things come first, some things come second. Sometimes you take the thing that was in 10th place, you put it to the front. I think priorities change. Now, when I wake up, I'll be real with you, I want to get my fitness or exercise routine out of the freaking way. You know why? Once again, not because of looking good or whatever, because I know myself. I know that over the past few years, Corona, this and that, da-da-da, there've been lots of situations that can put a brother down, that have put a brother down. So if I don't give myself, and by the way, I can't stay down because I've got shit to do, bro. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
I've got business to take care of. I've got this to take care of. I've got that to take care of. I got shit to do. If I'm not in the right mood, if I'm in the mood of just like, what's the point, you know? Is it even going to work, you know? Is it even going to come to fruition? If I don't do something about that, as soon as I wake the hell up, bro, it's going to linger. It's going to stay for the rest of the day. And it wasn't always like that, by the way. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't always like that. But now I know myself well enough. Kev, you wake up within preferably 15, 20 minutes. Get your exercise out of the fucking way. Give yourself that boost of your mind. Like, okay, you know what? Ready for the day. Let's go. My mind is flooded with serotonin. I've got my shit out of the way. I feel like I'm in control. What's the next step?
What's next?
You know, what else do I have to get done today? So that idea of getting it done, you know, I've really taken that to a whole nother level especially when it comes down, because I'm the kind of guy, and you know what? I say I'm the kind of guy. This goes for anyone, you know. It's good to have something in your life that gives you how can I say it? a physical push as well, because you also want to keep your body strong, right?
Yeah.
Or your mind and body to kind of work together.
Connect. Absolutely.
Yeah. They're connected, you know. So for me, having that little bit of struggle, a little bit in the morning, nowadays, oh man, it's necessary for me. It wasn't always like this. I'll be real. It wasn't always like this. You know, I remember there was times when I could wake up, do a backflip out of my bed, and land on my desk, make a few, make 100 phone calls, whatever I got to do. But things change. The world changes as well. What the most important thing is, do you adapt? You have to adapt as well. If things are changing around you and you want to stay the same, that's not going to work, right? It's not going to work, right?
Exactly.
You have to be adaptable. You have to adapt as well. So the idea of, just, hey, get it done. It's there. It's on the table. Get it done, man. You're going to feel better, and you're probably going to feel like you're in more control as well.
And I want to add something as well. Stop running away from the truth, from the reality of your situation. Because a lot of guys escape and seek fleeting pleasures to distract themselves from the reality of their situation. A lot of guys are in grave trouble. Financial trouble, physical trouble. They're obese, or they're going through a condition that is self-inflicted. And they are running away from the reality. Look at yourself in the mirror. There's an exercise from a psychologist which I was looking into once, which really actually shook me. She was saying to her clients, go home today, stand in front of the mirror, and just look at yourself for about 3 minutes. Look at yourself in the eyes. And you know what?
That sounds like such a fucking exercise, dude.
Honestly, she found a lot of people couldn't complete the task. They were so uncomfortable. They couldn't even look at their own eyes because they almost felt like frauds. Look at me. I'm disgusted with myself.
Well,
this is the guy that promised his wife he would be this superstar who'd start this business, he'd do this. This is the guy that promised he'd get in shape 5 years ago, still a fat fuck. So it's almost like the disappointment is too much for them to even look at their own face. And obviously it also impacts your social encounters as well. There's a lot of guys out there, you speak to them, they look down. They can't look at you in the face because there's an element of shame associated with who they are. And look, it's good to feel disgusted with yourself. And
because
as Jim Rohn says, put an act to your disgust. There's no good just being disgusted.
Exactly.
Do something with the disgust.
Act upon that disgust.
Exactly.
Act upon it, act upon it 100%.
Because if you don't, then you're guaranteeing, as we said earlier, that things will remain the same. And for how long are you going to tolerate mediocrity? It should piss you off, man.
Dude, look, one of the craziest things that you can ever tell somebody is look at yourself, dude. That phrase, it can be so horrible. Look at yourself. Imagine you telling someone, you say, just look at yourself, dude. You know what I'm saying? And you stop, you're like, oh shit, I'm a mess.
Who am I? Yeah.
I'm a fucking mess. So that idea, I really love that idea. That idea of just stand there and look at yourself in the mirror. There's a reason why we have that phrase that's saying, look at you, dude. Look at yourself.
Exactly.
There's a reason why we have that phrase. When you tell somebody, look at yourself, man. Look at the state of you.
Yeah.
And then you stop, you're like, oh shit. Damn, I guess I better, I gotta buckle up a little bit. I need to put my bootstraps up.
Yeah.
You feel me? So there is definitely an intrinsic elements to that idea of stopping and looking at yourself for a second, man. Because hey, you might not like what you see. You might be okay with what you see. If you don't like what you see, you might be intrigued to do something about it.
Yeah. So absolutely.
That's I kind of like that idea, man. But then again, it also kind of ties into like a bit of self-talk, because sometimes what I do, this is gonna sound really wacky and weird, but I stand in front of the mirror and I talk to myself. It's called self-talk. I know it sounds a bit, cool and, but I do it.
Michael Jordan used to do it.
Michael Jordan used to do it?
Crazy. Michael Jordan used to obviously speak very highly about himself, but sometimes he'd create fake stories to push himself. So he'd be on the court playing against an opposition team, and he'd start saying, "Oh yeah, is that what you think?" Like creating. Basically, there was one story where he said that the opposing player was talking crap about him, And then they interviewed the opposing player that he was talking crap about. And they said, did you actually say that about Michael? Did you say that this? And he said, no, I didn't say nothing. And then they interviewed Michael. And Michael was like, yeah, he didn't say anything. I was just creating fake hate to push me. Like, that motherfucker was crazy. But this is the thing. Self-talk is one of those things, as you said, it sounds crazy, but you've got you for the rest of your life.
Oh, nice.
People will come and go, but you will remain with you for the rest of your life. So what's your relationship with you like? Do you look at yourself in the mirror like, come on, champ, look, the past is the past. We're going to learn from it, but we're not going to live there. What are we doing today? What are we doing today to get back on track? So it's developing a healthy relationship with oneself, not one of, allowing yourself to, because some people are too soft on themselves. You need to know when to be hard on yourself. Give yourself the credit for what you've accomplished, but tell yourself, man, I know you've got more in the tank. So I respect that, man. I think, talking to yourself is something that I do as well. Whenever I catch myself, even for a second, having a negative thought, which is natural. We all have negative thoughts.
Yeah, it's a natural thing, dude.
I speak positive words out loud. There was a very famous, I think he was a baseball coach. He was saying to some of the players that he was training, he said, listen, if you get a negative thought, that's normal, but don't you dare vocalize it. And there's another quote.
Oh, damn.
The warrior within listens to the words that you utter and is either strengthened by them or weakened by them. There's a warrior within.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of guys out there that are like, man, I'm so broke, man. Why do I never have money? That's dangerous. I mean, just for me to say this right now makes me uncomfortable, because I know it will have an effect on the way I feel, which will then have an effect on my actions, which will then cripple me if I'm not careful. But when you say, man, money just finds its way to me, man, people are lining up to do business with me. If they're not going to do business with me, who the hell are they going to do business with? It's almost like a healthy dose of arrogance. You need to have that about you, because if you don't, then what's the alternative? You're going to be talking shit to yourself.
You make a good point there, man, because even, when we look at some of the old sort of religious books, they always tell us how powerful the tongue is, and that idea of uttering something, saying something, that's not necessarily productive or doesn't necessarily have positive connotations, just by putting that out there, verbally, just by putting it out there, it could actually have, a negative, a detriment actually on your personal development. I totally agree with that, man. That's why, dude, negativity is not really part of my MO. I really try to stay. Listen, I tell you something, right? Even the idea of somebody, because I've had this, people say this to me before, when I have a situation with someone and I'm so confused as to why they did that, there was somebody who said, oh, Kev, it's because they were jealous of you, this and that. And to me, even the idea that somebody can be jealous of me, I already feel is so egotistical. You feel me? What do I have that you cannot, that you don't have to make you jealous of me?
But you know what? You'll never understand, because it's not in your DNA to be jealous.
It's not. No, it's not. Oh, absolutely not.
So even for me, this is one of the biggest mysteries in life, how someone could just harbor so much envy and jealousy. But, as Jim Rohn says, I wouldn't take that class.
I wouldn't take that class,
There's certain things I wouldn't dig deep into, because you know what?
I'm skipping that semester.
It's just the way things are. There's going to be positive people and there's going to be negative people.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as I'm not part of the negative crowd, because negativity, misery loves company.
Yep.
In the same way that when you're around people that are just positive and optimistic, people often have this connotation that when you're positive, you're just fake positive and you're just too much. And
well, don't go be depressed and stuff, or go take mental health medicine. Exactly. But what's the alternative?
We know what the alternative, which is a life of misery. Funny thing is, I saw a video recently of these two podcasters that I watch, and they were talking about the difference between British culture and American culture. And they were noting that, there's one very stark difference between British culture and American culture, which is as you mentioned, the vibrancy. And the, for example, here in Britain, you tell someone you're doing something, they're like, all right, good for you, mate, well done. Yeah. But over there in America, it's like, that's good, champ. Come on, man. Yeah, it's like this energy.
Yes.
Anything's possible, man. Look, America has struggled, but that dream is still there.
Right.
Here in the UK, man, people, if you're not careful, can talk you out of something because they're just trying to be reasonable with you, and they're not trying to lead you on or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there is no real English dream, you know. There's English. With Britain is different because in England we're sold on etiquette, we're sold on chivalry, we're sold on gentleness, which are just as important, by the way. So there's no real sort of British dream. You know what I'm saying? But there's definitely an American dream, right? And you can
It's an attitude.
It's an attitude. All
That's what it is.
It's in the attitude. You can even see it in the television. British media is very like gray kind of scale. You know what I mean? American TV is full of
Welcome
colors.
back tonight. You know, it's super.
Yeah.
That's
Not only in the way, you know, in certain presents, but just the color scheme.
Yeah, just boom,
Just the color scheme
in your face.
Look at an American channel. Look at a British channel. It's different color schemes.
Yeah.
British TV is kind of like,
Reserved.
it's kind of grayish, kind of, you know what I mean? Which is cool.
Monotone,
Listen, it's our culture over here. It is what it is, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
But we're just making a comparison here. American TV is super vibrant. It's very much in your face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, it's probably part of the reason why they're so successful in certain, you know,
and why there's a lot of Fortune 500 companies
why there's a lot of Fortune 500? Exactly.
It's an attitude. It's an attitude of, you know what?
Yeah.
This dream is possible.
It's possible.
I saw
Make
a
it
video,
happen. Yeah.
The founder of Monzo, a British guy, he was actually commenting on this difference as well. He was speaking about how when he went to America for business, you noticed the attitude over there was like, what else can we do? You know? But when he came back to the UK, there was a lot more of a reserve. Just be careful here. Let's not get carried away. It's that kind of mindset.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You're right, man. You're right. You're so right. You're so right. And it's sometimes I wish it wasn't like that because, you know, we're the kind of guys that, you know, we love vibrant environments, you know? I love to be in environments where people are constantly buzzing, bouncing off the wall. I want that. I really, really want that. I can have my downtime when I go home. You know what I'm saying?
I like dreamers.
I like
being around people that believe that
dreamers, go-getters. Yeah.
Tomorrow there'll be a huge building here. I love people that can see something that isn't there yet.
Same here.
But I do believe also that taking a bit of both is good. I like the let's not get carried away approach when you're doing well. So I think taking that approach and learning from it when you're doing really well is good, because sometimes when you experience a little bit too much success too soon, you get carried away and you start thinking recklessly and you make stupid decisions. So I think a little bit of both is good.
A little bit of both is good.
The dream has to be alive.
The dream has to be there. Yeah, a little bit of both is good, you know. And like I said, you know, here in England, the culture that we're sort of encouraged to take on and sort of appreciate is that element of, you know, be gentle, you know, be chivalrous, you know, act with etiquettes. Because that's when you think of Britain, you think of guys dressed like you know? You know what I'm saying? James Bond looking like guys. Yeah, that's what you think of, you know? I'm not thinking of some, you know, Wall Street cowboy, even though we have we have a thriving stock market in England. We have the LSE, the London Stock Exchange, thriving. But you think of London, are you really going to think of some, you know, how can I say it? Blase, bonanzo kind of salesman? Or you know, a cowboy who's just killing it on the stock market and acting, you know, wild or whatever? No, that's not what you think of when you think of London or England in general.
Exactly.
You think of etiquettes.
Yeah.
You think of tea. Think of crumpets. You think of chivalry. You know what I'm saying? Good evening, sir. Yes, madam. Let me hold it. That's what you think of, right? Which sometimes you could lack that in America as well, right? Because there it's very, you know, let's go.
Yeah.
It's go time. Let's get it. I don't want to fuck the door. Get you open the door yourself, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Of course, I'm highly overgeneralizing right now, but that's the difference. That's the difference, man. And you know what? We take you, like you said, you have to take both. Take a sprinkle of this, take a little pinch of that, and make it work, you know, with your formula.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin, look, to wrap up this podcast, for someone who's listening today, who wants to really turn their life around, in 60 seconds or less, what would you advise them to do?
Well, number one, get yourself into a good physical routine, because you need even if it's every other day, you need that vehicle that's going to give you a nice little physical exertion that in turn will boost your morale and will probably help you do the other things that you had planned for your day or planned for your life even. And then I'll also say, always have a clear-cut goal that you're working towards. Could be short-term, could be long-term, could be a mixture of both. But do not wander this beautiful earth aimlessly. You feel me? Don't walk around just thinking, okay, what's going to be? Have a plan, be a man, be a woman of a plan, and work towards that. So that's definitely what I can say. Have a vehicle that's going to give you a bit of physical exertion to help you, because nowadays you hear a lot about mental health and all this type of stuff. So have something in there that keeps your mental in balance, you know what I'm saying, and your physical as well, and work towards a goal. Always have something that you're working towards.
I love that. Well, Kevin, look, man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you down.
Definitely.
We're going to run it back and do another episode together.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. For sure.
We need to jump into,
100%. Oh, yeah.
Your breakdancing career and obviously what you're planning on doing.
I know there's a bunch of stuff we left out, so we're definitely going to do this again, no doubt.
Obviously, we spoke on the phone the other day about many different things as well.
I know, right? I know, man. I know.
I want people to get a taste of what Mr. Kevin Kallon is like.
Yes, sir.
And I want you guys to also share down below what you enjoyed about today's podcast. Make sure you give this podcast a like.
Hell yeah.
And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more incredible episodes just like this. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace and love.
Salutes. Nice. Thanks.